Welcome back, everybody. I'm Morgen Reynolds with Beyond the Trend, and this is Coffee, Cocktails, and Capitalism. I'm so excited to get to know my guest today. He was introduced to me by our bartender friend, Nate. This is Matt Buckley of the Buckley Group, who specializes in both residential and commercial real estate here in Florida. So not only will we be talking about the ups and downs, but mostly ups of the Florida real estate market, but we'll also kind of talk about how Matt has built his career and his rather large and successful team based out of Orlando.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll walk away with some tips and some inspo. So stay tuned. And if you missed the part where we make these delicious drinks that we're enjoying, please go back and watch that video as well. So without further ado, Matt, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, you drove down just for this, so
I did.
We appreciate you coming to our little hovel here.
It's awesome. I'm glad to be here. I truly am.
Well, thank you. We like to kind of go back to the beginning with our guests, and one of the things I hope that people kind of always take away from these conversations is that your career can kind of take a lot of different twists and turns along the way. It doesn't have to be a straight line. For most people, it's usually not.
It isn't. Yeah.
But broadly, how long have you been doing real estate?
Almost 10 years now. We've
Wow,
been 8
okay.
years licensed and helping people. So I always say almost 10. Makes me seem a little bit older than I am.
Right.
But just about 8 years here in the business.
Okay. And were you born and raised in Florida?
I was born and raised kind of the Orlando area. Family's from New York originally, but born and raised here in Orlando. Now reside in the New Smyrna Beach area. But as you kind of said, we have a team that covers just about the whole state of Florida. So.
Interesting. Yeah. So about how many people would you say you guys have
On the
grown
team,
to? Mm-hmm.
we have 25 active agents as of today.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And you have been able to kind of shift your role a little bit to more of a coach and mentor and management of the team. Is that right?
That is correct.
Yes. Okay.
Started in the business, as the agent in the trenches. So I know all of what that entails.
The pain and the struggle.
And then I can only be so many places at once. I can only help so many people. And as I became, I think, in demand from consumers, I had to reach out, get a buyer's agent, get a showing agent, get some admin. And slowly but surely kind of the reputation, the aspect, the team culture has led now to 25 agents. So very grateful.
That's very exciting. What is it about real estate that you maybe kind of enjoy the most or that keeps you in the industry?
Great question. And it's, I came from high school. I kind of didn't know what I wanted to do. And I had thoughts of, the military. I've been called somewhat decent looking. So I said, maybe I can be an actor or a model. So I actually moved out to Hollywood at 17 years old.
Did you really?
I did.
What did your parents think of that?
They were not too happy. They were not. I didn't give them a choice, really. I bought a one-way ticket to Los Angeles, LAX.
Oh my gosh.
I had a big suitcase. I paid about $60 because it was over. And I was headed to California. I wanted to be an actor, a model. And that was kind of that first pivotal rejection from the world that gave me thick skin, tough skin.
Right.
Came back home about 6-7 months from there.
They said no. California said no.
They didn't. And I don't know if I stood longer or it just wasn't the place for me. I saw the industry for maybe what it was.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't what I wanted to do with my life.
Mm-hmm.
Came back home, started, serving tables, going to community college. Went to college for about 2 semesters.
Mm-hmm.
And it taught me that college is not for everybody. So I got a valuable teaching from college.
Right. Learning along the way. Yeah.
Yes. And then, serving tables, side work. My father was a contractor, so I'd help paint and lay floors. And there was no real industry or job that I was very passionate about. I didn't want to be a doctor, didn't want to be a lawyer, firefighter, whatever the case may be. So I ran into an old baseball coach back in the day, and he's like, "What are you doing with your life?" And I said, "Oh, I'm serving tables, just got out of college." I didn't say just dropped out of college. I said just got out of college.
Right. The spin is important.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's sales 101. And he said, "You're a decent looking guy, you got a good head on your shoulders. Why don't you come work for me?" And I said, "Well, what do you do?" And he goes, "I have a real estate company." Like,
This is the baseball coach.
This is,
Okay.
Yep. And, Dad had a couple rentals growing up. He painted houses. I knew what an escrow deposit was. I knew the basics of quote-unquote real estate. So I started working for him, and it was Valentine's Day. And it was about $39 to get my real estate course. So I said, $40, 60 hours. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Right.
I got my real estate license. Within my first year, I sold about 27, 30 houses in my first year.
Wow.
This is 18 years old.
Okay.
No facial hair. Trying to convince middle-aged elder people to use me with the biggest asset of their life. And there was a pivotal moment for me where real estate isn't just something you could get into. It was something you had to make your craft. You had to be knowledgeable. You had to have, references. You had to have a little bit of history to show your success.
Mm-hmm.
So got in the business, again, had a successful first year. And then it was kind of this beautiful thing where depending on how much work I want to put into something or how many hours ultimately dictates my success.
Right.
College, you can go wherever, might not end up getting a job. You could do this, you might not end up getting hired.
Mm-hmm.
Real estate, it's no matter what color, height, gender, this, that, whatever you are,
Mm-hmm.
solely based on how much work you want to put in, you can ultimately dictate your success.
Right. You make it or break it yourself.
That was that grabbing factor for me to stick with the real estate.
So you can kind of determine your own destiny.
You can.
Mm-hmm. And you remember maybe your first transaction or two, or how you got that first client or two?
I do.
Tell the people.
Daniel Swintek, and if he's watching this, Dan, I absolutely love you and Joni.
Nice.
We were getting internet leads. People inquired on a website about a house. And it was a Sunday, and the lead came in, and within 5 minutes, I've always speed to lead is something I train my agents. If someone's clicking, watching, get them then. You wait an hour, 2 hours, they're helping their kids, changing their oil.
Mm-hmm.
You're not getting the same conversation. So speed to lead has been just a principle of mine. And then got on the phone with him, and, hey, you want to look at this house? You inquired. Yes, met him at the property. I was 18 years old. I might have been 19 at the time. They liked the property. They liked what I had to offer them. I was always a big guy where, hey, I don't have the most experience. I don't have, facial hair and an Audi and a Rolex and a wedding ring on. I was just a young kid.
I mean, some people would say those are not necessary.
Some would.
Yeah.
Mostly in the business, they want to see experience. They want to see maybe you have a home of your own, a family of your own. I didn't have any of the following. But I always made it a priority. If I did not know the answer, I would get the correct answer. So rather than telling people what they want to hear, I told them maybe delayed what they needed to hear. That was something he really appreciated telling me years later. And another thing was, if I didn't have all this experience, I didn't have all this past sales history, well, the people that I did work with, I had to blow their socks off so I could get referrals or I could get their trust. So saving people a ton of money via closing cost was just my driving factor. I wanted to become this closing cost king. So I met with Dan and Joni, toured a couple houses. I think we looked at about 12, 13 of them.
Oh, wow.
Ended up finding the one they loved. And real estate is you can work for weeks, months without a paycheck. So it's very pivotal that you kind of see the bigger picture. And he invited me to a restaurant, ordered me a beer. I was too young to drink the beer. So he was like, why are you drinking? I said, I'm not 21. He's like, oh, go ahead. And the rest is history about that story.
Right.
But they have purchased, they have sold that house, they have bought another house, and they've referred 5 family members to me 8 years later. So
That's amazing.
he got me a dollar bill, Matthew's first sale, with the date, with the address, and I have it in my office to this day.
That's so nice.
But I vividly remember Dan and Joni Swintek, my first ever real estate transaction.
That is so cool.
It was about 36 days into being licensed.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But it sounds like from the jump, you really had a kind of customer service mindset.
That was it.
Yeah.
Saving people money, giving them a great experience. And if you treat people bad, our reputation's our backbone. So if you screw somebody, tell them something they shouldn't hear, just pass a document in front of them that they maybe shouldn't be signing, it's going to catch up to you.
Yes.
So I was always from the beginning, hey, I have a clear slate. I have no reputation at this point. The only reputation I'm willing to create for myself is a great reputation.
Yeah. Well, what do you kind of attribute having that focus and discipline to? Did your parents kind of talk to you about that type of thing? Did you have brothers and sisters growing up and you guys kind of all...
Funny you say that. My dad's watching this. He's probably going to get pissed off. But my dad was old school Italian, New York, hustle, bustle, did what he had to do. He was a handyman contractor. And sometimes I saw the way his business was being run. Subconsciously, I was young. Maybe I didn't understand it then, but I became older and I really understood what was going on. And my dad would buy the cheaper paint to save cost. He'd have painters complaining that they didn't get paid on time. He'd have a review saying that they weren't happy with that. So I was seeing the trickle effect of cutting corners, cutting costs, taking the cheap, the easy way out. Dad, I still love you. I'm sorry. But as I became a man in business, I said I never want that to be something attached to my name. So it was just caring for people as a human. Like, I think that, of course, originated it, but seeing kind of that other side of the business of complaints and negative and stress,
that there are kind of some concrete consequences that come back. Yeah.
So I said, if I'm going to start a business, I'm going to create my own business. I'm going to make sure I never have bad. People are going to say bad here and there, but within control, I'm always going to treat the consumer nothing beyond exceptional.
Right. You want to feel like you've done your level best, so you 100%. Can sleep at night.
That's it. Yeah. So I can sleep at night. That's something I tell my agents. As long as you can sleep very good at night, just continue what you're doing.
Nice. Yeah. Well, it seems to have worked out well for you.
And it's still going, but it has. It has.
So how did you get from kind of those early sales to, deciding that this was going to be your long-term career?
Yeah. So, one thing led to another. One client referred this client, or, a big thing with I tell new agents, and I was a new agent at the time, when you don't have people calling you to buy or sell real estate, you have to be calling people to buy and sell real estate. It's not going to fall in your lap. You're not going to, unless you're a trust fund and you got a great book of business, which I didn't have. I had to be constructing my own business. So, internet leads, which is still very successful, still what we, give to our agents. But this was 2017, 2018. That was my main way of getting, paid leads. You pay Facebook, Google, Realtor.com, Zillow. You're paying for the relationship and the contact. And like I said, within the first year, I sold about 27 homes. And that was kind of like momentum. It was
it's exciting.
Funny, I say that for anyone listening in the business. I was on a 30% commission split, and my broker was getting 70%. So if anybody hears that, it's a little absurd. It's something that I look back now. The training, the knowledge, the coaching that I was receiving was absolutely priceless. And it was, granted, I was getting a smaller split from the broker, but he was equipping me with all of this knowledge. He was 40 years in the business. And I made him my mentor, and Rick McBride, I love him to this day. But I was learning so much, and I couldn't put a price tag on it. I couldn't put a comp plan on that.
Right.
So granted now, we sold 25 houses. I get better and better, sharper and sharper, more confident. And that kind of transcribed. Now, we entered kind of pre-pandemic. Market was very, very good. Took advantage of it. Went into the pandemic. That market served for itself. But
and you were here in Florida.
I was. Yeah. Kind of the Orange, Seminole, Volusia, everything from down south to Jacksonville over to Tampa.
Right. And we really had a boom during the pandemic here. Yeah.
I'm young. I'll run. If I got to drive 2 hours to make, a couple $1,000, I'm willing to do it.
Right.
It was better than Hollywood. It was better than going to college. So I saw extreme value there. And if you treat people very good and you get them results and you save them money, they're going to talk good about you. And if people talk good about you, slowly but surely you're going to get referrals from them. And again, by just keeping the consumer as the forefront, keeping their experience as the number one kind of priority led to more business flowing.
Nice. And when did you decide, maybe I want to build my own team?
Yep. So 2021, 2020 into 21, I brought on a co-agent, kind of someone to help me with the buyer appointments, someone to help me with the CRM. It was getting to be a lot. And him and I sold $31 million in real estate. We were both 22 years old, 21 years old.
Oh my goodness.
I trained him. I was trained by my mentor. So I brought on a buyer's agent, an assistant, my right-hand man, so to say. And because I had to be too many places, I had inspections, listing appointments, a podcast, a meeting, whatever the case may be, and I could only be so many places.
Right.
So I wanted to find somebody, one, who had the same care for the consumer and experience as me, and someone who was willing to just work and grind it out.
Also
and
had the hustle.
I found that guy. Him and I did extremely successful, extremely well. And then, now he got to be too many places. So we slowly started bringing on additional agents. And we were the Buckley team at this point. Our logo was so silly. Our colors were so... You look back and it's just all a part of the journey.
We're all very ashamed of our early marketing.
Yeah.
Okay? Nobody go back and look.
That's what dictates today. So, there's something to be grateful for. And we were the Buckley team. We got to about 5 agents. And then I did this. I was still at that small... local boutique brokerage. We were in DeBerry, Florida. If anybody knows DeBerry, we call it Mayberry. It's small.
I know DeBerry.
Yes.
I have a good friend actually who moved to DeBerry.
Do ya?
Hey girl, shout out.
Very small town.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
It's very quiet.
And I was always one who wanted more out of life. I got one shot at this. Let me take this bull by the horns and do what I can. So I wanted more in life. And there come a point where that local boutique brokerage was no longer serving me as I should be. My clients, my potential. So I reached out on an Instagram DM to a man named Robert Palmer. And Robert Palmer, if anybody knows Robert Palmer, he led RP Funding. They did 10% of all mortgages in Tampa, $1 billion valuation, just a mega success in the industry.
Yeah.
Reached out to him on an Instagram DM. I'm a young guy. I'm a hustler. I want more out of life. Can I please just buy you lunch and pick your brain? And he replies back 5 minutes later.
Really?
And I'm like, oh my goodness.
Right.
And he goes, meet me at Aliqua Country Club. I'd love to. And he bought me lunch. I didn't end up buying him lunch.
Wow.
But that was the gathering and jumping into LPT Realty. And he was, hey, I want to help you, but while you're here, I have this thing that I'm making called LPT Realty. And this comp plan and this and this and this. And I was like, wow, this is exactly what I was looking for.
And you didn't know that he was kind of working on
zero clue.
this side project.
I had zero clue.
You just
of
followed
LPT
him on
Realty.
Instagram. He was local. You're like,
I knew he was
let
successful.
me take my shot.
I knew he knew systems in real estate. Maybe he could point me to another brokerage or. And he was constructing LPT Realty. And it was
That's
timing, the universe, whatever you want to call it. And I met with Robert, and he goes, well, if you sign the line right here, I'll make you the first agent with LPT Realty. Now, nobody knew what LPT Realty was going to be. I just took that gamble. I took the bet. I knew he was successful. I knew anything he touched was kind of, going to be a success.
Right.
So I signed the line right then and there that day, and I was the first agent with LPT Realty. And then that's when we kind of rebranded the Buckley team into the Buckley Group. So I was the first agent, so I had to recruit agents. I had to get the word out. He made me kind of his show boy and put me on all the magazines and stuff like this.
Right. You became the poster child.
The poster child, yes.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely, we've achieved the Buckley Group of 25 agents, and we'll do about $60 million this year in a down market.
Wow.
We're just excited to help more families, give my agents a better quality of life, and ultimately give the consumer a better experience.
Right. That's amazing. Good for
Thank
you. So that was 3 years ago, you said?
Yep, just over 3.
Yeah. And LPT as I don't want to say it's not it is a brokerage, but it isn't. Do you want to explain maybe a little bit the ethos to people? Yeah.
It is a brokerage,
okay.
A real estate brokerage.
Yeah.
And it was, there was something in the industry where there was kind of flaws in this broken system of industry. And with real estate, it was always, brokerages were glorified payment processors. They were, you got a sale, today's your closing day, we're going to write you a check. Congrats.
Right.
Next closing, we'll give you another check. There was no true value proposition to the agent. And agents were giving 20%, 30% of their income. But what was the validation of why I'm giving you this hard-earned money? Granted, realtors, we don't get insurance. We don't, we're not W-2 workers, so all that stuff is paid for by ourselves.
Right.
So giving
you have
money
a lot of
to
overhead
someone,
on your own,
tons of overhead. People don't see that. But in addition to the overhead, I got to pay this brokerage a split. And Robert identified that broken kind of ability within the brokerage, and he goes, I'm going to offer 2 commission plans. There was never a brokerage who offered 2 commission plans. It was, you went to RE/MAX, you went to EXP, you went to Sotheby's, you went to this, you went to that, and there was one plan. Whether you were a single mom and sold one house, or whether you were a top producer and sold 100 million, there was the same comp plan.
Right.
And we identified that. And we said, well, we're going to offer 2 comp plans for the brokerage. An 80-20 for that high producer, recruiter, hustler. And then the person who does 1 to 5 to 10 deals, we're going to offer them a 100% commission plan, $500 a file, $5,000 cap. So we are a real estate brokerage, one offering, we call it a hybrid model. We implemented, this was post-COVID, EXP was on the blow up of the virtual brokerage.
Right.
So we implemented this brick and mortar hybrid where you could do it from any state, from your computer, from any country, with 2 comp plans. And the industry saw value, and that's why 3 years later we've been noted as the fastest growing brokerage here in the country. We just crossed 27,000 agents.
Wow.
We're in all 50 states, and we're knocking on JP Morgan and Wall Street's door trying to go public now. So.
Oh, really? That's
Yes.
very interesting. Okay. Do you get any special perks as being the first agent?
No perks. I think opportunity was the special perk.
Well, of course, yeah.
You know, the first one in I get to recruit. I get to bring on more people. And in
Maybe
the early
set the
days,
tone in some ways, yeah.
In the early days, it was based on your production and recruitment, you were given shares in the company because it was a pre-IPO company. People who got into Amazon, Tesla,
right.
they did very well. So I was fueled by, again, I didn't come from generational wealth. I didn't come from a bunch of money.
Right.
I was a kid that dropped out of college, didn't make it in Hollywood, and got a real estate license. Like, that's all I am.
Right.
And now I saw this bigger opportunity with, you know, a guy made $80 million in 2021, and I was surrounded by people like this. So I wanted a better life. I wanted more out of life. And when I was given the opportunity based on how much you want to work, how many hours you want to put in, how many people you want to recruit, and it's real estate. I'm not selling lotions and potions and pyramid. I'm selling a career. I'm selling an opportunity.
Right.
And I'm only going to sell it if it's actually, you know, a product that can benefit people. And so I was able to, 3 years later, I was able to get, you know, plenty stock in my backpack, so to say. I was kind of that poster child who he glorified me as that local top realtor, so he benefited me so much. And, you know, whether we go public or not, which it's leaning towards it, maybe that's when we'll see the bigger payday or, you know, reward for all the hard work. But we're working on going public here soon.
That's very exciting.
It is exciting.
Wow. You and I will have to talk offline more about that.
Yes.
But I think you kind of highlighted something that I think is so important for any entrepreneur, is that you had a grateful attitude that, you know, I'm looking up to people who kind of have done the hard work and the legwork, and, you know, if I can just kind of get closer to where they are, that is a reward, you know, or just how can I learn from them? How can I pick their brain? You know, how can I kind of set myself up for similar success?
You know, it's that old saying, you show me 9, you'll be the 10th. And I wasn't hanging around, you know, I just got out of college, just left Hollywood, and I was still in the small town, and that's why I wanted more. I wanted to get out of that boutique brokerage. But it was, you know, I always said, find the people whose lives you envision. The guy who has a beautiful wife and kids, the guy who is loyal to his wife, the guy who's successful, has a boat, you know, spends time with his children, and do what they did. And some people are more gifted than others, whether it be money or talent, and some can't achieve it. But for me at a very young age, it was get by these people, successful people, your own definition of success.
Right.
Get by those people, and naturally success rubs off, you know. The happy people only make happier, or happy people want to make other people happy as well. You hang around miserable people, negative, complaining people,
right?
It's like cancer. You hang around positive, rich, fun, you know, successful people, well, that only helps you grow to that as well. So I made that a priority at a very young age to just get surrounded by people whose lives I wanted.
That also, I think, takes some discipline, because
courage
too.
Yes.
Yeah, because you almost have to you have to believe in yourself enough to put yourself in the room, right? So how do you kind of help new agents that maybe don't have that confidence or are very unsure of themselves? What are maybe some things that you tell them? There's
a great quote before I get into that question. It's, if you can't get in the room, find a way to serve water to the people in the room. It was, if you can't sit at that table, if you don't got the watch, the income, the W-2, the 1099, the company, find a way to become the waiter, find a way to serve those people water, because naturally you're in the room. So it's, one, just, you know, take that leap and get around people who are at least doing what you want, or kind of the same morals, same ethics. Start there. And it's, people are so hard on themselves these days.
Yes.
We want instant gratification. We need it now. And if we don't get it, we're going to quit, and then we're failures. And it's, if I could just tell anyone listening, just have a little belief in yourself. Fail. I'm telling you, you'll be successful. And even if you don't, it'll be lessons that pay you in your next endeavor, or your next journey.
Right.
Just, you know, give yourself an opportunity rather than just quitting so fast.
Yes.
I say 86% of real estate agents fail within the first year. And it is because, you know, they don't get that sale, they don't make this, they watch Selling Sunset and they made $100,000 and they didn't make that their first sale. And it's just give yourself an opportunity to be successful.
Yeah. Well, and kind of like you said, it's like you have to put in the work. You have to pay your dues. You have to kind of keep putting one foot in front of the other until you get where you want to go. All right, I want to shift gears to talk a little bit more broadly about the real estate market.
Fun. Let's do it.
Okay.
So we're seeing the last 3 years have been quote unquote a down market.
Okay.
And in those down markets, it's so pivotal to be focused on, when you're not so busy, focus on the systems, focus on the marketing, focus on prep for the boom when you're in the doom.
Right.
And that's something we have just been doing so much. And now we have, a great state, great government, people, flocking here to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Interest rates talking about coming down, all these different headlines and this and that. So I've been very grateful to be in Florida, being in the middle of Idaho or Nebraska in a doom. It's probably not the best. So we've been fortunate to be here in Florida, but we are ready, for what's to come.
Okay. And are you seeing, do you want to comment on any kind of market indicators or what you think might be what 2026 might look like kind of overall?
So, the end of 2025, we had 3 consecutive rate cuts from the Fed, which is momentum and good signals towards 2026. Now, they signaled that only expect 1 cut this year for 2026. So potentially watching what they do going forward with interest rates will be very interesting. The fact that we got 3 consecutive cuts, inflation's coming down. I think affordability is a real problem. Cash is not as surreal as it used to be. It's not, people aren't as liquid. People are hurting. People are, I completely understand that. But if affordability can come down, inflation can come down, then maybe that magical interest rate or that magical monthly payment does become, we've had so many people on the sidelines for so long. And just to watch if 20% of those people take action, we're going to see a big uptick in the market. And I'm excited for that.
Okay. So you think people are just kind of holding because of the interest rates that
would
so. Be ready to move?
Now, the luxury market, the 1 to 10, 20 million, they don't really care what interest rates are.
Sure.
They're usually paying cash. They don't give a darn. The people in that 200,000 to 600,000, your common folk, an extra $200-300 is big to them, and you got a lot of people pre this down market who are locked into these 2-3% interest rates, and maybe they're commuting longer to work. Maybe their children are sharing that bedroom. Maybe they don't have the pool they want, but they're holding out due to affordability. And I think just when that affordability becomes some type of sense to the common consumer, we're going to see a huge uptick.
That's interesting. Now, when I look at Zillow, as one does, right, and you kind of survey what's happening in Florida, it seems like there is a lot for sale.
There is.
Okay. Why?
So we are at almost an all-time high with inventory. And when I'll go 2 ways with that. When you see a bunch of inventory, that kind of sets up 2026 to where if affordability gets better, rates get better, there's a ton of options, there's more homes to be sold. So you can look at it from that perspective. Then you look at it from a perspective of how much of that actual inventory is priced well, is in demand. And you see a large sector of the inventory is just not presented well, not being marketed, completely overpriced. So when you look at the inventory, okay, well, how much is actual real inventory? And there's so much of it that is overpriced, or people have fantasies of this COVID price, and they're not getting that no more. So we do see people want to sell. It's good seeing the demand kind of stem from the selling side. It just makes me excited to when affordability gets better, interest rates get better, cost of living gets better. More homes are going to be sold because there's more on the market already.
There's going to be a lot more movement. Is
more
what you're
transactions being done. I think that'll get us to that 4.5-5 million in sales.
Okay. And that is what it used to be per year?
Correct.
You said?
Yeah. The last 3 years we've been down
That's
in a transaction count.
Right. But 3 million in 3 years is just so wild.
3 million per year.
Oh, per year.
Yeah.
But still
It's
million
still
less.
Low.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so what do you think about kind of this conversation that there's not, I guess nationwide, there's not enough inventory, that we haven't been building enough homes? Is that
when you look at it with human to household, like there is still so many houses to be built to meet the true necessity for homes for people. However, builders have made a huge uptick in building. I mean, everywhere you go, there's new construction going up, there's new developments going up. Now you have this multi-generational aspect where they're building multi-gen homes. Now you have people house hacking, converting garages. So I think to a sense of, do we have enough homes now to sustain? I think we do with the creativity and the ways builders are doing it. But I see there's so much, one, inventory, but two, the builders who are building currently with pre-active homes coming to market, there's tons of inventory, you know, and I think there's only more to come to the market.
Okay. Tell me about this multi-generational home. I don't think I've really heard that this is a thing that people are building.
So couple builders, you know, DR, Coulter, they're doing where kind of like a mother-in-law off the side. They're doing it a lot in Daytona Beach. They're doing a little south of Daytona. They're doing this multi-generational living. One, we saw that because affordability was so high, you saw people starting to move more people into homes. So instead of 3 or 4 to a household, it was becoming 6, 7, 8.
Right.
With, you know, different backgrounds and different where you come from. Maybe, you know, some people love to live closer. Some people love to live, you know, the Americans are like, no, get me away from mom and dad. But other backgrounds and aspects of life, they embody that stuff.
Right. I do think that's coming full circle even for Americans, though.
I do as well.
Because our generation is having kids, and they're like, oh, my parents can actually help with this. Yeah.
So I do see that coming around, but now you have this they call it multi-gen homes is what the builders are advertising.
I mean, that's great, yeah.
And it's where, you know, you can have the son who's going off to college, maybe live with the mother-in-law. Or, you know, grandma's getting a little bit too older, so she's going to a nursing home. Let's just move her in with us.
Well, which goes back to affordability.
Demand.
It's incredibly expensive to try to support elderly parents in either their own house in an ongoing way or in a senior living facility or something like that.
We deal with it a lot. We deal with it a lot.
Yeah, that's interesting. Who else is kind of buying right now? Whether that's a price range or an age bracket or maybe a career type. Do you see kind of one or a couple things more than anything else these days?
I see the luxury market's thriving.
Okay.
Luxury is thriving. A lot of stuff in the luxury division is getting sold. One, because now it's a buyer's market right now. And if I can get a discount or a deal on the same house I may buy next year, I'm going to take advantage now.
Right.
The person who doesn't care about the rate, whatever the case may be. The second buyer right now is the situational. Someone who has to move. You know, mother-in-law fell, have to move her in. I'm getting a divorce, I have to sell the house. I'm getting married, having children, I have to build a house. The commute to work is just way too much, I have to move over there. So the situational people, which I always think there will be, they're taking, I say, advantage right now.
Right. They're going to do it anyway.
They are, yes. And then you have these people who are kind of on the fence. I would if the rates were this, or I would if I could save this, or I would if I could get this for my house. And they run into a great real estate professional who shows them interest rate buy downs, who shows them seller credits, who shows them the average asking versus sold price, and buyers getting extreme discounts. And
what is a interest rate buy down?
Yeah, great question. So interest rate buy down, almost what it sounds like, is where if you, the buyer, I'm working with you, the house is worth $600,000. And maybe we go in at $600,000, but we're going to ask the seller, because they've been on the market 100 days, and they're very motivated to sell. We're going to say, hey, Mr. Seller, we need $20,000 for my buyer's closing cost. So my buyers can either apply that towards their closing cost, on average about 3% of the loan, or let's say, hey, Matt, you know, I have the cash to pay my own closing cost, but you know, free money is beneficial.
Right, we'll take it.
Maybe we don't apply that towards the closing cost. We apply that towards your interest rate, and you can prepay interest. So
really,
if the going rate's 6%, I get you $10,000. You know, maybe we take that $20,000 from the seller, $10,000 we put towards your closing cost, $10,000 we put directly towards your interest rate. Now we can get that down into the 5s. If we put the whole $20,000 towards it, we can get it down maybe into the 4s.
That's crazy.
There's ways to buy down an interest rate.
I've never heard of that. Very
just had to meet Matt.
There you go, you guys. The Buckley Group. It's creative over here.
That's it.
All right. So you and I were chatting a little bit that we've been following the Owning Manhattan Netflix series a little bit. Binged it the other day. So
he's a great marketer, that guy.
Ryan?
Yes.
I know. Yes. Talk about somebody who just doesn't quit.
I know.
Right? So, no, that's stuff like that is always very inspiring to me, because it's like, oh, everybody has their tough days in business. You know, we might as well just keep it moving, right? But they were talking about the Mercedes residences down in Miami. Is a new condo complex that's being built. And then I saw on Instagram today that there's actually a Bentley Residences. Have you seen this?
I haven't seen the Bentley. I've seen the Aston Martin. I've seen
There's
the Porsche Towers.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Bentley's late to the party.
Maybe.
Yeah, all right.
Aston Martin, sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
Aston Martin just announced they are building in Daytona Beach the Aston Martin Residences.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So is that their first foray into real estate?
I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they have presence down south in Florida, South Florida.
Okay.
But into this kind of mid-East Coast, getting closer to, the northern part of the East Coast, that would be their first presence here on the northern East Coast.
What do you think about that luxury cars are now branding condo buildings?
I think it's intelligent. I think it's great. You have such a powerful brand and people who believe in it. And sometimes that brand gets paired with luxury and beautiful and nice, and people like that aspect of living. It's already trustworthy. It's proof is in the pudding. Like, they have trustworthy vehicles, they have a trustworthy brand. Oh, maybe they have beautiful condos as well, and people are experiencing that. But it's something that a couple of them have done, and you're seeing success with it. I mean, they're building multi-million dollar buildings in Miami, now in Daytona Beach, and I'm telling you, the vacancy isn't down. There's people buying them and living in them, and some people like to be paired with that kind of brand. It fuels their ego. It fuels their way of living. Right.
That's so interesting to me, because I thought for a while, and maybe it was kind of just like the post-COVID come down, the next generations were maybe shying away from kind of some of that old school branded, wearing your wealth or your lifestyle on your sleeve kind of thing. So it's kind of fascinating to me that, and condos don't go up in a day. So obviously they've all been working on these plans for quite some time. Yeah. You said vacancy is not down, but is there, in some of those bigger cities like Miami and Daytona and Orlando, is there still a pretty high surplus of inventory? Is there a lot of empty stuff? Can people get some good deals?
For sale there is. For sale there's a ton of inventory, a surplus of it. During COVID we had like a week of inventory. Sometimes we got into single count days.
Wow.
Meaning that if not another home was listed on the market, every home on the market would sell within 7 days, 5 days.
That's crazy.
Which is absolutely crazy. Now we have about 4 months worth of inventory.
Oh, interesting.
So we have a ton of inventory. You're seeing with the rental aspect that because people can't buy the house, a lot of people are resorting to rent. So we're not seeing as much inventory or vacancy with the rentals. We're seeing that kind of be bought up. One, I think people don't understand how easy it is to buy a home. They think they need $100,000. They think they need an 800 credit score. It's really not the case. So they resort to renting. So I think rentals will always kind of be there. People with landlords I think the cost of living for mortgages are going to get so high in the next 10, 20 years that rentals are going to be a huge thing. I think they're going to be...
You think more and more of the population will revert back
personally.
To renting?
I do.
Even with rate cuts and things like that?
I don't think they'll resort back to it. I think they're going to get either priced out or just opportunity out. Like, they're not going to see the opportunity there. And you're seeing it now. But in the big cities, especially with new jobs coming and Florida being number one for small business and number one for this, you're seeing a ton of migration here. We've been seeing it for years.
Right.
And those people need somewhere to live. So they're going to that rental for sure.
I don't want to get us onto a depressing streak, but the rental the rental rates seem to be continuing to climb rather than coming back down. Is there any type of relief in sight that you can see for that type of thing?
I don't.
We all just need to make more money.
Yeah, I wish it was that easy, right?
Right.
I really don't, and it's unfortunate. I think it all boils down to supply and demand. When demand is high, supply is somewhat low, prices are going to rise. And truthfully, I think the average rent right now in Orlando, Florida, for a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, it's about $19.50. If you translate that to a mortgage, you really see the buying power and what kind of home you could be in. Maybe a community pool, maybe an extra bedroom. And I think that the average consumer just does not know how easy it is to purchase a home.
Yeah.
And they resort to renting.
Yeah.
And rental rates have continued over time to raise each year. Your 30-year fixed mortgage is going to stay the same.
Right. And I do think, because I have quite a few friends that have like rental properties and things like that, it kind of like everything in life, there's a lot more risk now to landlords, especially individuals, right? Just kind of like with doctors and the price of insurance going up and things like that, right? It's too easy for something to happen, and you just have like this one little rental home and something goes wrong, and so that kind of that risk has to be priced into everything now. Yeah. Whereas if you're the homeowner and you trip and fall on your own property, it's just your problem, right?
Yeah. You're seeing whether it be, the rising cost of insurance, like you said.
Yeah.
Whether you see it as a lot of, people who bought houses in the 90s, early 2000s, their mortgage is extremely low. They have a ton of profit margin. But these people who bought these rentals in 19, 20, 21 at an inflated price, therefore the mortgage is higher. Maybe they bought it from an investor. Now the taxes weren't, being implemented. There's so many different could-bes, but naturally, rents have been and will be statistically more than your average mortgage.
Yeah. So the moral of the story is find yourself a good broker, right? Find yourself a good broker and figure out what type of house you could buy, because it might be easier than you think.
It is. And I think, I would love for you guys to come to me, come to the Buckley Group. We'd love to help. But
that's right.
There's so many other great real estate professionals in this business. And if you truly find a great real estate professional, they're going to ask you a magical question. And that's, how much can you afford per month? And rather than speaking about rates and prices and this and neighborhoods and HOAs, how much can you afford a month?
Right.
That is your biggest expense every month, whether it be your mortgage or your rent.
Right.
And I would rather it be paying towards yourself. And I get there's certain scenarios where renting is better. If you're in a city for a small time, if you're traveling a lot, whatever the case may be, if you don't want the risk, the liability, there are some arguments on that side. But if you connect with a true, great real estate professional, they're going to focus on what you can afford. And you're going to really see, now more than ever, banks and lenders have opened up guidelines and opened up abilities to where there's down payment assistance. There's, hometown heroes for our
first responders
and all that stuff. There's physician loans. There's VA loans. I mean, there's so much access to homeownership. It's just not being discussed, and people aren't being well informed. And so many people think they need the 800 credit score, 20% down, and 10 years of work history, and it just simply is not that.
There is more flexibility.
There's so much more.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. If you're watching Selling Sunset or Owning Manhattan,
oh, yeah.
right? Like you're not learning about those types of things. So that's great advice, though, because it never hurts to ask, right?
It doesn't.
And do you recommend sometimes that maybe people call a few agents and just find somebody they really feel comfortable with? Is that done?
I would. I treat real estate like no other profession. Whether you're going to go to the doctor, whether you're going to get your car fixed, I always encourage options. I encourage consumer choice. You should shop around. You should see which one fits your family better, 100%. And by doing that, I think you'll get a little bit from this one, a little bit from this one, a little bit from then. You take what you want from it. You're going to meet their preferred lender. You're going to get their objection or their observation of the market. But it never hurts to, I always tell people, put me side by side with somebody, and I'm going to show you why you should work with me.
Yeah.
So some people don't like that. I am one to put me up against somebody, and I'll show you why I deserve your business.
Well, you stand behind your work.
I do.
Which is great.
Thank you.
Okay, so last kind of topic that I thought we could broach is, in Florida, there is this discussion about dropping the property tax.
Yeah. Mr. DeSantis.
What's your hot take?
I was watching a podcast this morning, Patrick Bet-David and John Morgan. Morgan. And they were discussing this, and they think it's all for headline, and they think it's potentially to get who he wants in government.
Plausible, sure.
And if we drop the taxes on a primary residence and it has to be paid off, we don't understand how much money would flock to this state called Florida. So I see so many people, in the event it is passed, would come here to Florida. The wealthy, the luxury, the riches. They'd buy multiple homes in Florida, and they would pay them all off.
Because now it's a place to put your money.
Correct.
Invest it.
Correct.
It becomes part of a portfolio for some people. Sure.
And it sounds great. It makes great headlines. I mean, I would pay my house off if it became the truth.
Sure.
But I think that's a ton of money. I don't know the exact amount of our annual tax roll on homesteads. But if you took that money away, we have to now fill that money from somewhere else.
Right.
And does that mean jacking up premiums? Does that mean taxing something else. I don't know the specifics to that, but I just know, there's two famous words in politics or recruitment, and it's free money. And everyone loves free money.
Right.
Do I think it's going to happen? I don't. I truly don't. I could be wrong and play this back and say, Matt, you were wrong. I get it.
Eric Trump thinks it's going to happen. So
yeah, listen to him. They know a lot more
what
DeSantis has planned than I do.
I don't know.
It sounds great. Free money's awesome. I just want to know, where will that money be coming from in the event you bail out potentially all those people?
Well, it's been my experience in my short life that governments are not good at ever rolling back their budgets. Mm-mm. So whatever your local municipalities are used to spending, if there's a vacuum where property taxes are gone, they will find some other way to make it up. Yeah. Sales tax or whatever that might be.
He says we make so much from tourism that it won't even be a problem. So I'm interested to see the numbers side by side. I really haven't dug into them on that level.
It's interesting. We actually... so one of the things that I do here in Vero is I'm on the board for the Main Street organization, which kind of helps with downtown revitalization in the historic district and things like that. So I work closely with the city council and the tourism, Indian River County tourism, things like that. We have a lot of conversations about all of that type of thing. What's interesting about Florida tourism is that a large percentage of tourism tax that's collected from every individual city does go to Tallahassee. Mm-hmm. So Tallahassee's budget is wonderful.
Of course.
It's very much like works, that right? That commission split you were talking about earlier. So, we pay our dues to Tallahassee, and Florida is a great state. And so, that's fine. But I think it would be hard to make up a property tax budget with just tourism dollars.
I do too, and I think Ron DeSantis is absolutely amazing. Mm-hmm. I think he's a great governor. Mm-hmm. I think he's kept the state of Florida free and what it is.
Mm-hmm. But it's a very pro-capitalism state.
It is,
and it's benefited a lot of us. Yeah,
pro small business, pro freedom, pro whatever the case may be, and I think it is. All these other places, California, New York. I think Texas, Tennessee, and Florida are like the three places that people are just wanting to be right now. And it's a big credit to their government. And if those governors aren't coming out with better news and new opportunities, then it's not going to continue. So I think it is a sales pitch. I think it is like a recruitment thing. I think it's to get people talking. Who knows? Eric Trump said it's going to happen. Maybe it will. But my big question is just, where is that money going to come from?
Right.
Right. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
It is. It's a huge part of especially local budgets that cover things like road work and your fire departments schools and teacher salaries. Absolutely. Yeah.
And I never want to jeopardize those things.
We need those.
Just for, the extreme luxury to put away money or save on taxes.
It does make a little bit of a difference that the house has to be paid off, though.
It does.
Yeah. I mean, what percentage of people do you think could afford to pay off their home that aren't grandparents that have maybe already paid it off?
I don't know percentage-wise, but it makes me just think what people will be paying their houses off. And I am pro-capitalism. I am pro-business. I am pro-making as much money as you can. I'm pro-taxes. I'm pro-tax breaks. I don't want to, appear something else here.
Of course not, yeah.
But it makes you think there's very wealthy in New York. There's very wealthy in California. There's very wealthy in those states that Florida's against. So when you open that up, you open up that opportunity for all of those personalities, those interests, those supports, those beliefs to come into your state, pay off their house. And now, you look on I-4 and you see all these different tags and you're like, oh, it was for the tax break. And is it worth it?
Right.
Some will say yes, some will say no.
Yeah. Well,
I'm very neutral here, if you can't tell.
I
don't want to go either which way.
Yes, no, being very diplomatic is important. It is. When you own your own business, we understand. We, want to work with everybody. That
being said, too, I'll reconsider. Very diplomatic. However, if I'm passionate about something, I believe in something, I'm not going to shy away from it. I'm not going to pretend to be someone I am not. I just maybe do not know too much of where the money's being allocated, kind of their current status. So I'm being a little bit kind of in the middle here. But I am, if I feel support or believe in something, I'm 100% going to support it.
Yeah. I would love to see it happen for people who have, literally paid off their mortgage. You know, like grandma, grandpa, they've been paying on that house for 30 years, 20 years.
I don't think you should pay property tax on that.
Exactly. If you have paid it off over time, you've paid all your interest, right, back to the bank on your loan. You've paid absolutely everybody and your property taxes for all those years. It should be yours. So I agree with the premise. I think that's wonderful, and that would be the most fair thing to do. And if there was a way to kind of protect that option so that it wasn't just a, you know, swoop and park your money from people who haven't invested the time and the energy, you know, not to say they didn't earn it, but yeah, I think. Yeah.
And I agree with you 100%.
It would be nice, but you know, they always say like one person spoils it for everybody, so it's
how it
hard
goes. Then you have, you know, Donald Trump talking about mortgage rate portability. So if you had a 3%, you want to buy a new house, you could port that interest rate. And that's on now a conversation to be had.
Well, I would really dearly love to
everybody
see that
would love that, you know. But it makes you think there's a cause and an effect. And it sounds great. What does that do to the market?
Right.
How do the banks feel?
Well, exactly, because in general, the more kind of rules and regulations that come from the top down, right, whether you love or hate the banking system, right, they have a certain way of working and functioning and factoring all those things in.
It's going to be very interesting.
I didn't even hear about that.
A lot on the docket.
Going to have to read about that, I guess.
Portability interest rates, what are you talking about?
Do you, real quick, there are things like Homestead in Florida. Do you want to just tell the people really quick some of those other things? I think there's like a widow exemption and veteran exemption and some other ways that they can get some help on their property taxes. Yeah.
Homestead exemption being the number one, $50,000 is kind of the going rate right now for homestead. Have to be in the house, basically. Beginning of the year, whoever owned that house is what you're going to be stuck with the filing status. So if you buy a house in February and the guy, it was his rental, you're going to be stuck that whole 2026 with the non-homestead. Now, if you bought in December or you bought, you know, December 30th, you then claim homestead January 1st. Now you'll be able to get the homestead
January
exemption.
1st it resets.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Like you said, fully disabled for our veterans. Thank you for your service to all of our veterans. We are huge respect and belief and love for our veterans. 100% disabled, no property taxes. That's great.
That's fantastic, yeah.
There's really, you know, when you compare and people say, well, why should I buy a house? And it's, of course, appreciation. Of course, you're paying your own mortgage off. Of course, it's your house. But there's so many ways to, one, save money via taxes, have an office in the house. Now you can claim that as an office. But then, of course, you know, the appreciation, the way to make money, but also the way to save money. And there's Florida being one of the best states for homestead, the veterans, the widows, tons of opportunities to save.
That's great. So what I'm taking away from this conversation is if you are not currently a homeowner and it seems intimidating, you should at least go talk to somebody and ask some questions. Sounds like it's worth it.
Just hear them out, you know, ask your questions. Albert Einstein said there's no such thing as a bad question.
Okay.
People don't want to feel dumb. People don't want to feel silly. And it's like, ask that question. You know, be curious. The right professional, whether you interview 3 of them, is going to respect your questions. They're going to answer your questions. But I truly think if people only knew how easy it was to buy and sell and invest into real estate, there would be way more people taking action. I do.
Okay. Well, we'll see if this podcast can get a few more people off the fence.
Perfect.
And into the market. Before we go, are there any kind of books or podcasts or things that you kind of recommend to people to watch just in terms of kind of business, entrepreneurial success and growth?
The business and entrepreneurial, I am a huge Patrick Bet-David fan. PBD, huge. Ryan Serhant, you know, someone who built a great brand. You know, that success leaves clues. Jordan Belfort, I mean, the list goes on. Something I would really, you can watch the books, you can do this, but if you're not implementing these things into your personal life, it's almost worth nothing. So, you know, get a journal, start going on a walk, start becoming interested in something, and most important, start believing in yourself. Like, you're going to fail. I get kicked in the teeth every day when people hang up and don't want to join and quit the team and admin and stress, but it's just keep going. If I can tell anybody, just keep going.
Just keep going.
That's it.
Tomorrow's another day.
It is.
That is great advice. Matt Buckley, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
your time.
So grateful to be here.
How can everybody hunt you down and find you? Where can they follow you, call you, reach you?
Social media platforms, Matt Buck Sells on Instagram.
Okay.
Betterwithbuckley.com is our website. And if you want my direct cell, 407-617-0438. Go ahead, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, email, phone number, or get in touch with her, and she'll get you in touch with me.
I'll pass you along to the right person.
I would love to connect and help and just be a voice for anybody who needs it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Ask your questions, learn more, be curious is just wonderful advice in general in life. And thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all the things. Share this with your friends, and go find Matt on social media. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.